too much. To the chieftaincy and leadership of the masculine people, members of the academic procession, Madam Chancellor, Mr. President, friends, fellow classmates, family who've traveled from afar. I stand here thanking the God of Anginas who has granted me this opportunity to stand before you today. Growing up in a small township in South Africa as I did, and coming to UBC in 2007, I would never have imagined that on such a day I would be standing in front of you. And so I'm indeed humbled that my name happened to be drawn out of that hat. Probably why I'm standing here today. Fellow graduates, today is a day of Thanksgiving. Today is our day to say thank you. As we would say in my language. And as you and I know, it hasn't been a straight highway where you can do 180 kilometers on. It hasn't. It was a highway that had many sharp curves, uphills and downhills. And it's a road that you often felt lost when traveling on it, confused or tired. But there's always a mother or a father or a sibling or a friend, or even a stranger for that matter, that fueled you on to continue on that road up to this day that we're at. And so it's for that reason that I say today is a day of thank you. To show our gratitude to this university that has given both you and I memorable teachings and experiences and foundations of life, I'd like to present the following gifts to the university from the class of 2011. $5,000 to the Abdul Ladder Center for Building Improvement Project, $5,000 to the redevelopment of the AMS tutoring website, $1,500 to the food bank for non-perishable food items, $5,000 to Safe Walk for jackets, $6,000 to the MS Bike Kitchen, and $1,800 to the MS Volunteer Connect. My fellow classmates, I'm sure someone has already daunted you with the question of what next. Now, with the tough economic times that Madam Chancellor has described, that can be a rather challenging question to have to confront. It can be sensitive, frustrating, probably even depressing. I'd like to know that I'm not going to attempt to even pose that question to even try to address it. I want to take this opportunity though today to challenge a deep-rooted value and philosophy of capitalism, and that is self-interest. Now, when Madam Chancellor was up here speaking, I was like, man, I hope she's not going to go into what I was going to speak about, because it was leading to. Now, one thing I do agree, as a common student, I do agree that self-interest can be an efficient motivating factor. However, we are forced in the times that we live in today to question whether indeed, as society and future leaders, we're okay with just looking out for our own pockets. That it's fine, as long as I'm okay and I'm gathering my dollars, that's okay. I think we've come to a point where we have to question that. Few can disagree that with the education that you and I have attained, we have an obligation to serve. I don't think it will be unfair questions if in 10 years' time or so, we ask ourselves, as people who've come here and had the privilege to education, we ask ourselves, so how have other people benefited from the works of your hands? Is someone else out there living a better life because of what you've done? I don't think those will be unfair questions. Now, Bill Gates once said, and this is for the common students that enjoy this, Bill Gates said, to those that much has been given, much is expected. Someone here was echoing that as well. And I bring that in today. But I want to couple it with something that our former President Nelson Mandela said. And he said, with freedom comes responsibility. Today I add to that and I say, with education, there's also a responsibility and there's also obligation. Now, I'm not saying that we have to go and impact with what you do, go and pay the 7 billion. No, that can be a daunting challenge. But in the little corner that you're in, with the little that you have, with whatever skills and capacity you have, that's where you can start with your 5 people, your 10 people, your 10,000, however much you're able to do. The past generation used to say, no, look, I have to get to a point where I'm 50 and 60 and I'm a billionaire, then I'll start looking at others. That's what the past generation defined. But today we have to question. No, I have to say that with whatever $5 I have today, how is someone else? It doesn't have to involve money. Right? So the challenge I'm saying is that with what we've been given, with the education we have an obligation. Now, we know that there's little to be desired of the relationship and the manner that those that crossed the seas interacted with my ancestors across the African continent. And so as we fulfill the obligation of our generation of peace, of sustainability in all its forms, and equality for all, let us do so in a dignified and in a culturally sensitive manner that UBC has come to teach us. Yes, I may be naive in thinking that one day we will be regarded as equals, that we will be treated as such. But, I'm comforted by that the Martin Luther Kings of the world and the Nelson Mandelas of the world were also deemed to be naive. So I'm fine with it. Now, what we must think about, the day that the sun sets on our journey of life, the question is not going to be, what is Thato's bank balance? Everything I say, but what is his bank balance? That's not the question that people are going to be posing. No, it's not. The question is going to be, how did others benefit from the life that this person lived? And so, I want us to think about that. As today we move, and as we take pictures, and pictures that will help us think back to this achievement, I want us to embed in those pictures, we must embed in those pictures a reminder that we have an obligation to serve. We have an obligation to serve. Our generation has an obligation to serve. Say that with me. We have an obligation to serve. We
have an obligation to serve.
I take it that you concur with me. Now, with that, I want to, in closing, congratulate my fellow graduates. And as I've said, it has not been easy for many of them. But through the grace, we're here today. And so, I say in closing, let peace, let justice, and let equality reign through whatever works that is going to come through our hands. And with that, Thato Makgolane in us. Thank you.